but you're getting killed by 1,000 cuts here. Don't you have to say, I need to coach my defense into the strengths of my players? Has he not done that this year with his overuse of the zone defense?
Not the way I would like. The Eagles play way too much zone.
Here's a midweek edition of Birds 365. You got Jody, McDonald, and Jeff Kerr, because John McMullen is off for COVID testing. He just spent the last 40-some-odd minutes with us. But JK and I will hold it down, get you into hour number 2, which will include a spot by BLG. That's what I call Brandon Lee Gouton from Bleeding Green Nation whenever he hops aboard with us. So BLG coming up next hour. But a couple more questions for you, Jeff Kerr. After the Eagles were defeated by the Chargers on Sunday, a game that they could have won. I've listened to a lot of people go back and forth on whether it was a quote-unquote moral victory game because they're playing a very good team, and they played them to a tie for 54 minutes, let the Chargers run the entire 6 minutes off the clock before they kicked the game-winning field goal. But 6 minutes ago, it's a tie game. On whether it's a moral victory that they almost beat or could have beat a talented team with a pretty damn good record on Sunday, or was it, this is bad. They could have beaten, and they didn't. We've said it too many times this year. They could have won the game, but then they don't win the game. It's kind of a glass half full, glass half empty type of thing. Which side did you come down more on?
Well, I consider it a moral victory, Jody. I fully expected the Eagles to play this team tough. I thought Nick Sirianni was going to run the ball a lot. He did. Jalen Hurts made a lot of plays he needed to make in that second half. Now, again, I harped on the Dallas Goedert miss and the Devonta Smith miss. They were bad, but overall, Jalen Hurts was not the reason this team lost the football game on Sunday. It was Jonathon Gannon going back to that two deep safety what he was trying to do, trying to avoid the big plays, the Keenan Allen, Mike. Well, I hate to tell you, Jonathon Gannon, Mike Williams is banged up. Mike Williams is banged up. Bottom line, he still made a great catch off Darius Slay, but that was more of Justin Herbert putting the ball where only Mike Williams could catch it and Mike Williams just being Mike Williams. But Mike Williams was not going to go for 6 for 150 and a touchdown like he was prior to the knee injury against Baltimore. It just wasn't. Keenan Allen did Keenan Allen things. Keenan Allen has the most catches in NFL history through I think it's like how many career games or whatever the statistic is. The guy just makes plays. He's a good receiver. The Eagles didn't want to beat him downfield. That's fine, but this was a game where, and when I rewatched it, they did blitz more, but it wasn't enough. And sometimes when you blitz more, maybe you should blitz other people or have different blitz packages. It just doesn't feel like to me they have that. And I called 27-24. I got to pat myself on the back for this because I said this. I told John Mack on Friday. I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be tied late, and they're going to keep the ball late because the Eagles defense can't get off the field, and they're going to kick, essentially a walk-off field goal. I said there'd be no time left. It was 2 seconds, but that's pretty much what happened. I am not surprised by the Eagles' effort on Sunday. Nick Sirianni running the ball. The end result, I'm calling it a moral victory because anything other than that, I would have been disappointed.
And kudos for you for not only getting the layout of the game right, but the score exactly right. I had 23-20. You and I were thinking exactly the same. Yeah. It'll be a late field goal by the Chargers. It'll lift them to victory. Tie game late, but you had it right on the score, which is very impressive.
I get them right every once in a while.
What's that?
I get them right every once in a while.
Oh, shoot. No, that's more than getting it right. When you get the score right. Getting it right is depicting the way the game goes. Getting the score exactly right is pretty damn impressive. All right, so the Eagles defense comes up small again in the final 6 minutes of the game. Jonathon Gannon gets questioned tremendously. Yours truly and others are putting him under a pretty big spotlight. One thing that John said when we had him on really did bother me, that the Eagles checked out a lot of blitzes the other day. They blitzed more than they did in even the previous game against the Lions, ineffective, didn't get to the quarterback. San Diego read it, saw it, knew it, got the ball out, checked into other plays against potential Eagle blitzes. So the chess game between the defense coordinator and the offensive coordinator certainly won by the Chargers, not by Jonathon Gannon. But on field, in the split second, decisions being made by quote unquote the quarterback of the Eagle defense. John mentioned about 4 or 5 different guys who have done it this year. That the Eagles' defensive in the huddle at the line of scrimmage play caller continues to change. Is that Jonathon Gannon's fault? Is that Howie Roseman's fault that he wasn't able to get a guy who is the unquestioned? Now, you have an injury. You have a guy, you make him your defensive quarterback, and he gets hurt. Well, then somebody's got to step into the lurch. That's not the case. The only guy who's gotten hurt is Brandon Graham, who hasn't been able to come back. They've had all these other guys who have either not been good enough and or haven't been able to get the job done. Who should take the blame for the fact that, my estimation, Jody McDonald, the Eagles' defensive quarterback, is ever changing and not good enough? Who should be taking the hit for that?
Well, I think the Eagles felt it was going to be Eric Wilson the entire season. Well, because he understood the defense, but Eric Wilson was god-awful. Let's just call a spade. He was god-awful this year. And they did not expect him to be cut prior to week 9, but he was. So, yeah, they're scrambling. And, maybe they felt it was going to be Alex Singleton. That's not a positive answer for me. TJ Edwards is the guy now, I guess. But you're right, Jody. I think this falls on Howie Roseman and Jonathon Gannon for just not having the personnel. I mean, and look, for Howie Roseman, this is bad draft after bad draft after bad draft. It's a snowball effect, and it's affecting this team and it's affecting this defense. The only linebacker you really drafted in the first couple rounds since Jordan Hicks has been Devion Taylor, and he was more of a project. And maybe you felt Rodney McLeod was going to be ready by week 1. Well, he wasn't, so you didn't have him. Anthony Harris hasn't been great. He's been okay. But McMullen's right. Marcus Epps, if we're really being honest, he's been their best safety this year. Darius Slay can't do it. He's a cornerback. He's got enough on his plate. They lose their defensive leader in Brandon Graham. Fletcher Cox, to me, I mean, yeah, he's a leader in a sense, but I don't feel like he's, that type of leader like Brandon Graham is, just on the field making that stuff. He just isn't. So, right now they're between a rock and a hard place. You're going to see it all year. But if I'm going to blame somebody for that, it's the snowball effect of Howie Roseman's drafts, and it's affecting Jonathon Gannon and the way he wants to run his defense.
And here's where I get on Gannon's case a little bit. I guess I get on Gannon's case a lot, but sorry. It's just my read on the situation. John talked about the fact that they play the defense that they play, and that he's got his beliefs, his core beliefs and his tenets and the like, and he calls what he calls and sticks at the defense he has. If you don't have one of those leaders, and when Jonathon got here, he got a chance to evaluate all the players that he had and who was going to be his defensive leader and quarterback on the field. And he had guys like that, playmaking linebackers when he was in Minnesota. Well, that was good for him in Minnesota. But when you get here and you realize, oh, damn, my defense is kind of contingent on someone being a playmaking linebacker, and I don't have a playmaking linebacker. Isn't it obligatory on the defensive coordinator to be able to flex out and have more things that he can go to and maybe be a little bit more flexible and maybe play a little bit more pass coverage? Because you look at your back 7, what are your strengths? Well, Darius Slay and Steven Nelson's ability to cover and not just sit back in a zone and then come up and tackle after an 8-yard completion, actually defend the pass. Isn't he obligated at some point to go, all right, I know this is not what I like. I know this is putting me at risk for the quote-unquote big play, which he hates, getting the ball thrown over his head. But you're getting killed by 1,000 cuts here. Don't you have to say, I need to coach my defense into the strengths of my players? Has he not done that this year with his overuse of the zone defense?
Not the way I would like. The Eagles play way too much zone. I hate how he plays these guys back and just make the tackle. Well, it's like you said, it is dying by 1,000 cuts. Oh, we only gave up a 7-yard play. Oh, we don't give up that many pass yards. I don't really care if you get beat by a 70-yard touchdown at this point. Because when your defense is getting gassed when they're on the field, why not play Darius Slay in man? Is Steve Nelson that bad in man? I don't think so. But Darius Slay is a very good man corner. He's a very good press corner. Play to his strengths. I think Rodney McLeod is better now at this stage in his career going after the quarterback because I don't think he's a good coverage safety anymore because with all the injuries. So blitz him. Blitz Marcus Epps, who can do pretty much both things. Find a way to play three safeties on the field. Find a way to get Kayvon Wallace in the game. He's got to be good for something, right? I mean, 0 snaps is pathetic. I don't know if that's him. I don't know if that's the defensive coordinator. I don't know what, but you are not adjusting to the personnel you have. You are not helping Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave out. You are not. Derek Barnett in coverage is not helping your football team. It is not. And Derek Barnett is not a good football player, but he also is you can make him better. Josh Sweat should not be as ineffective as he is. He's a good football player, but we're not seeing it because of the way this guy runs his defense. It's come hell or high water with Jonathon Gannon. I said this last week, Jody, with McMullen. I'm a basketball coach. The basketball team I used to coach, we want to shoot threes. We want to shoot threes all the time. But what happens when you don't have a team that can shoot threes? Well, you make them a defensive team, and you keep the game close. And you know what? They did that. We made the adjustments, and the team played better in the second half of the year. Why can't Jonathon Gannon do the same thing? He's an NFL head coach. I'm barely getting paid. I don't get it.
Understood, JM. If you're not getting paid, you're not going to sweat it much.
NFL coordinator. I'm sorry.
I'm guessing you're sweating.
Head coach already.
I'm guessing you're sweating it even at your pittance of salary that Jonathon Gannon is as the Eagles defense coordinator. All right, this week coming up, they got the Denver Broncos, who were very impressive in beating the Dallas Cowboys. Didn't see that one coming on Sunday. Didn't see a minute of that game either because I was away, not in front of my TV. Didn't have the NFL package to go to whatever I wanted. I just watched the Eagles straight through. So I kept seeing the score on the scroll on them 14, 16, 18. 30-0, Denver over Dallas. Didn't see that coming. But the Broncos have been a mediocre team all year. That's just my evaluation of them, and we'll get more into it when we get closer to Friday. This game for the Eagles, Teddy Bridgewater, pretty good against the Dallas defense last week. They did throw the ball very effectively. We just going to see the same thing again? Are they just going to sit back and zone and watch? Because Teddy Bridgewater will throw it underneath. He'll get the ball out of his hands quickly. He doesn't need to be throwing it down the field. He's not a mad bomber type who's going to specifically try and beat them over the top and throw into that defense. Are we looking at the same exact thing again this weekend?
The king of high completion rates is Teddy Bridgewater. Because I remember when Denver acquired him, they're like, "Oh, he completed 70% of his passes." I'm like, "Did you see the throws he made last year? He's checked down Teddy for a reason." So Jonathon Gannon better play his corners up. He better play his safeties up, and he better go after this guy. I mean, Denver has a pretty good offensive line. It's a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for. But they have to go after this quarterback. They have to get him, under pressure. If they don't do that, with their receiving core, Jerry Judy's back, Courtland Sutton, KJ Hamler's hurt, obviously, but Tim Patrick's a really good receiver.
Tim Patrick, where did this guy come from? Utah wide receiver. He had a decent year last year, and he's having a breakout year this year. Is that Teddy Bridgewater, or are we guys like myself just underrating Tim Patrick?
Yeah, Tim Patrick's been underrated for a lot of years. He just seems to catch passes no matter who his quarterback is. He's always been like that fourth receiver in Denver, but with Hamler getting hurt, he had an opportunity to make plays from the slot, make plays on the outside, and you got to give Denver credit here for how they've kind of kept Tim Patrick around, even though they had Courtland. And look, Courtland Sutton was hurt last year, so Tim Patrick got an opportunity to play. It just seems like the guy always shows up. Now he's hurt, and now I think he's going to be a restricted free agent. This would be somebody I would love to see the Eagles get, but he's a good player. He's a really good player, and he's a guy that I think he's going to be Steven Nelson's responsibility on Sunday. I know the Eagles play zone coverage, but it feels like that's a guy Steve Nelson's going to have to show up against because someone's going to have to stop Jerry Jeudy, and Jerry Jeudy could just beat you, 6 ways to Sunday if you let him. So, I mean, this Denver offense, it should be better than what it is, and I think a lot of that has to do with the quarterback, and they went bargain hunting for a quarterback, and it bit them. But this team is 5-4. They have a good defense. They play hard for this head coach. They got off to a good start. I know they didn't beat any team over 500 until Sunday, but again, I have my reservations on the Dallas Cowboys too. So Sunday was my just dessert with them. But
all right, Patrick has over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Something that not a lot of Eagle wide receivers can say at this stage. All right, Jeff kind of teed up his opinion on the Cowboys. Well, I'm going to further get his opinion on the Cowboys and the Giants, who I know he's been quite critical of here. Found a way to beat the Raiders this week. Another game I didn't get a chance to see enough of that. I just don't understand how it happened. We'll come back and talk more about teams in the NFC East here on Birds 365 next.